Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Zone of Control podcast. My name is Jerry. We're on episode number 32, believe it or not. And I am so excited this evening for our special guest. This week on the Zone of Control podcast, we're joined by longtime YouTube creator, Stuka Joe, for a fun and insightful discussion about what kind of war game content you enjoy watching the most. So welcome aboard, Stuka. Good to see you.
Thanks, Jerry. Thanks for having me in your show. It's a pleasure to be here.
So as you guys know, Joe's been producing high-quality wargaming videos for years. He does playthroughs, tutorials, deep dives. He comes up with new things for games that GMT's actually printed. He's kind of one of the reasons that I got into doing all this. And like I said, I'm kind of fanboying a little bit there. I really enjoy watching your stuff and everything. So today, we're going to kind of explore what keeps viewers engaged, how creators connect with their audiences, and what makes great wargaming content stand out. So I think if you're ready to go, we're ready to go.
Sure, let's go.
All right. So first thing we're going to do, folks, is you guys know the routine. Try to keep this between 45 minutes to an hour. It may go a little over today just because we have such a cool guest. But we're going to do a quick introduction. Let Stuka tell us a little bit about himself after we're done. We'll do some opening comments and kind of move forward after that. And again, we need your participation because we really want to see you guys and get you involved. We're going to say, looks like Christoph's in the house. Good morning, or I guess it's good morning over there now. He says, hello, Stuka.
Christoph.
We got Bill Campbell's in the house. Paul's in the house from Pennsylvania. So hello, Paul. How are you doing? And Paul and Christoph's one of the guys that have been they've been one of my supporters since day one, which is really cool. So I really appreciate them for that. So all right. So as you guys know, our special guest is Stuka Joe. So Stuka, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm not supposed to say age, but I'm 64 years old. I retired recently from my job. I was a federal prosecutor here in San Juan for 29 years and been doing videos for war games since 2013. There's Historic Wings, yeah. And first video I did was for a game called Lion of Ethiopia. It's a 2-hour, 13-minute long playthrough, and then I've done a bunch of different kinds of videos. I've enjoyed it very much. And through the years, I also like to do like add-ons for games, and it's a very rewarding hobby in terms of, you know, you're studying history, you're playing history, you meet a lot of interesting people, you travel to places, and you also intertwine the history with the travel. So I'm very happy with the hobby, and now I have more time for it. So I'm focusing now more on doing live streams. That's what I've been doing more recently.
And well, a lot of the guys think you're just a kid. So I'm 61, so we're about the same age. And Historic Wings in the house, Jonathan's in the house. Well, like I said, I remember. So what was how long ago did you get started? Did I miss that?
2013 was my first video.
Wow. And have you the thing I love about your content is it seems you could tell you love games, right? Your passion for games is just really cool. Have you played games all your life, or?
Well, yeah, I started my first 2 games were in 1974, France 1940, and Luftwaffe. Those 2 Avalon Hill games. I still have them, those copies, and yeah, I bought and played some SPI games, and through the years, more on and off, like everybody, you know, life intervenes, and so sometimes you can't be as active as other times. So yeah,
right. And well, so part of my opening comments is I started watching when I first got back into. I'd always played games, but when I got back and decided I wanted to get more into it, I started watching YouTube videos, and I love Paths of Glory. It's one of my favorite games ever. And you did a replay series, and then you also made this solo CDG thing, and that just opened up my eyes. And so then I started surfing your channel, came across the B-17 Queen of the Skies, and I think that is one of the coolest series I've ever seen on the internet.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that was something. I had a bunch of YouTubers at the time. The YouTubers who were, some of them are still active, but some retired, and that first group, I didn't ask anybody for permission. I just took their likeliness and put them on counters and put them on a plane. The second group, I asked them.
Well, I didn't know you were supposed to ask people, because I've been playing a game of Trench Raid, and I didn't ask anybody for that either. So, but I figure if they were that heard about it, they would send me a note. One of the things that I did appreciate that you did, well, there's a couple things. RAF's one of my favorite games as well, and you made those player cards, those player aid cards, and that was yeah, that was awesome. So what was your thinking behind that? Was it just to simplify your playing of the game?
Well, I went to play the game, and at the time, it's a game that unless you are John Butterfield, it's impossible to know on the top of your head the phases. So you look at the board, and there's a little blurb about the phases, but it's 35 phases, and it only has a title of the phases. That doesn't help you out. So I went to into BGG. There was a flip book. But the flip book, I said, the flip book is so cumbersome to use. I have to disconnect myself. So I said, why can't this be in cards? So I made a deck, and I placed the deck on the space where the sequence of play summary on the board is, just started flipping, and it worked well. I said, well, this seems to work well. So I did the decks for the Lion and the Eagle version.
And it was a game changer for me, because like you said, you have to go back and forth between the rules so much. And then another game you did something for was Stalingrad Advance to the Volga. It didn't have the little chart next to it that kept track of where you were at for attack values and that sort of thing. And I downloaded that off and printed that out. And as you know, I'm not a big print for play guy, because I'm horrible at that sort of thing. But that was great for the game too. And I was so glad you did something like that.
Actually, and that idea came from somebody in BGG who had made a handmade chart. And I told him, is it okay if I can make it, nicer and put it as an add-on there? He said, fine. And after they printed that game, Michael Rinella contacted me and said, hey, you mind if I put it? Yeah, I mean, I don't think I can have a copyright on that anyway. But that's just, what is it? 4 columns and
right.
on numbers. But I said, yeah, and they put it on Manila. And I bet you it's going to be in the Berlin game that it's going to come up in January also.
Oh, I'm so looking forward to that. I love his games. And those games, I tell you, for solo games, they are very difficult. And those are two of my favorite solo games. Viva La Emperor is probably my favorite game so far for solo games. But, well, besides RAF. But everybody say, oh, Spitfire, Joe. There you go.
What is that?
I think that's what Ruff calls you. I think that's before we move on, I wanted to also ask you about the solo CDG thing that you came up with. How long did that take for you to develop? Because that's pretty intense.
I went to play Paths of Glory, and I was playing it like, with full knowledge of both hands. I said, man, it's kind of painful, because you know what you're going to do with the other side right away.
Right.
So I remembered that there's a game Upfront, a very popular game that came out by Avalon Hill in the 80s. Upfront had a solo version that came in the Banzai module. That's the module that brought the Japanese and the British.
Right.
And it was something that combined face down and face up cards. You would play cards for that side, and then you would fill your hand at the end, but those cards that you would fill your hand with, you wouldn't look at them until the other side fired at you to see if you had a concealment card. And I said, hey, that's something like that might work for CDGs, where you choose cards, and then the other cards are going to be face down. And I did a version first that was kind of clunky, and then I fine-tuned it to the current version, which is the one from 2017 onwards. And GMT liked it. They asked me if they wanted to publish it. And I said, yeah, sure, go ahead. And it's it's not the same experience as a face-to-face, but it makes the game interesting to play. It has surprises, and if you play the game, you'll get to know the cards, and that's the whole point of a CDG. You got to know the deck of cards.
Right. So it's funny that you said that, because I love Upfront. It's probably, that was the introduction to me. That's the birth of the card-driven game, right? And I have Bonsai, and I remember when you put that out, I said, this seems very familiar. And I went back and I found it, because I also have the desert variant that was in like one of the general magazines or something.
The French and the Italians.
Right. And so it was just, but I play it, I use it for Paths of Glory, We the People, and a couple other games. I really, and now that Paths of Glory is on Rally the Troops, I don't know if you've played it on there. I've been able to play it a little bit. I love playing that game, and I'm not one of those guys who have memorized the cards. Sometimes when you play, some of those guys are so good at they've memorized the cards. I know enough about it, but I'm still not one of those guys. So, all right. Well, it looks like we're getting a pretty good group in here. Hex to Hex. Hey, how you doing, buddy? And so we'll talk about a couple things that's going on. So Flying Pig, I don't know if you got this, Joe, but they sent out their holiday catalog. So they've got a few games going on that, so you can get that online. I love their logo. I think it's one of the best logos in the game. But have you bought Rocket Chickamauga? Have you got that?
No, but I have the Gettysburg game. The thing is, I have a limitation. My table's 60 by 30 inches. So.
Oh, okay, yeah. I did the quick start thing, and they came with a cool little dice table and a dice tower and all that. So that was kind of cool. So yeah, so if you guys are interested, go check out the Flying Pig catalog. On Monday night, I'll be playing ID Jester in Great War Commander. We started playing a couple weeks ago. We had the wrong map. We had never played it before. It was a train wreck. And so now I think we're a little more into it. So we're gonna play that next Monday. So we hope to see you guys checking that out. Have you played this, Joe?
That's one of those games I have, but I haven't played this one. No.
So I love Combat Commander. I play on the ladder and everything. And so when I got this for I actually found it at one of those estate sales, when you just go into and somebody sold it. I think I bought all 3 modules for $25.
Wow.
And yeah, they're just like, they said, well, take it for 20. And I said, well, I'll give you 25. And so did that. So I'm glad I got that. So you guys tune in on Monday night and see if I can finally beat Jester. I'm also playing Blood of Lions. So you guys will see this. It comes out Saturday. I did the setup and kind of an example of play. It's a solitaire game based on the Somme, 4th British Army sector in July 1916. It's kind of a push your luck type of game. I will say from the get-go, the rules are there's 4 pages of rules. And I think if they would have had 6 pages of rules, it would have been perfect. But it's been good so far, and I'm gonna do a replay for that. So stay tuned for that. And now we're at today's topic. So when I wanted to have Joe on, I wanted to kind of talk about stuff to do with creators, because one thing that Stuka does is his production value is off the charts, as you guys all know. So I sent that to him, and then he sent back and said, hey, let's talk about what kind of content you like to watch the most. And so with that, I thought I broke it down into sections, so you guys will see the sections, but we're going to discuss each section, and we're going to get Stuka's insight. My phone hasn't rang all day, and now it's blowing up. And now we're going to, and then we'll get Stuka's idea of what, and kind of the evolution, because he's been doing it for a long time, right? So it'd be kind of cool to see what that is. So we're going to see what kind of wargaming content do you enjoy to watch the most. So if you guys could throw down in the comments what kind you'd like to see, and then we'll go. So the first topic there, Joe, is playthrough videos. What are your thoughts on playthrough videos?
Playthrough videos are tricky, because as YouTube content creators, this is what usually happens. A new game comes out, you read the rules, you start playing by yourself. the game, and you can do a wonderful production, and then you start screwing up the rules, and the video is completely useless in the future. You're just going to get comments, hey, at 325 you couldn't do this. So the thing with playthrough videos is what I've found through the years helpful, and my most viewed videos are videos, they are playthrough videos, but they are playthrough videos of for example, the extended example of play of the game. So you can't screw that one up. Although I've discovered that sometimes when a game gets published, they forget to update the extended example of play, and it's using like rules that were discarded. And it happened to me. I'm not going to say which games, but it happened to me that I would have to fix it because I would call the designer, hey, you can't do this. No, that we didn't update the extended example of play. But those worked well. I did one for Salerno. I did I think for the Herman's Gettysburg game, I took the extended example of play also and showed it, because you can't go wrong, and you use the extended example of play as a script, and it works fine. But the thing with playthroughs is something that since day one I've been doing is you can't get away from it. You got to get close to the subject in war games. For example, in war games, you got to get close to the map, because the devil's in the details. When you play a hex and counter game, the hex sides are important. What's in the hex is important. How many units, all that, and you got to move the camera in. That's something that I learned early on, and I still do to this day. But I know it's difficult. I see a lot of people there. There's two schools that I see. I see some people do the roaming camera on the shoulder, and of course you can zoom in and zoom out. The problem is your audience is going to get seasick, right? And then the other side of that is the camera here on what I call a 10,000-foot shot, which captures the whole map, but then you don't get the detail. And and then to get the detail, you got to get close. You got to put the camera in close, and that's why I use a different kind of system. I use a 3-slider system, but it can be done with a simple desktop tripod. There's a way of doing it, and it's a lot of fun because it gives the illusion you have a ton of camera angles when it's just one camera. But playthroughs are tough because you got to play the game correctly, and you got to capture the detail of the game also, which is otherwise, if you don't capture the detail of the game, the viewer is just trusting the content creator, because you can't corroborate what he's saying unless you get close. So playthroughs are the toughest, but I think they're one of the videos that kind of videos that the people is more helpful for the people when they want to play a game and play correctly.
You know, I learned that I did Enemy Action Kharkov, and that game, it's pretty crunchy. And I made some mistakes, and people were calling you out, which is fine. They should. So now I put a disclaimer, and I'm like, basically, look, if you're looking to play this game perfectly, this isn't the place to be. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to do my best to play, but I'm also not going to go backwards and fix something. I'm just going to do better going forward. The thing with so I use a camera now that's kind of up above. And I just now bought a mount that allows it to slide up and down, so I'll be able to get closer to the board. Because you and I've talked about that. That's one of the things, you kind of get this shot, right? And this shot's great, like that's on the screen, but it's hard to get the details, right? You can't see attack values and that sort of thing. And so I love doing playthrough videos. In fact, they're my favorite, but I also know they're the hardest. So it's one of those things that, again, I'm going to pick your brain off screen, and
Sure.
so we can get some more things. But I put your site up here because you do a very good job at it. And then I don't know if you've watched Poindexter Games. I don't know if you've seen it, but his Western Front Ace series was amazing. I mean, he did such a good job with that, and it just, it was really good. Let's see some of the comments here. Christoph, Dutchy, is that a word? Dutchy? And yeah, so I do like doing them on Vassal. I do like that, but I still like the idea of pushing cardboard. You do any on Vassal,
No, I
Joe?
don't. No, I think I'm a purist. I
Right.
need I need the physical game. For me, I mean, Vassal is a great tool for what it does. I mean, it allows people in different continents to play a game. But it's for me to watch something on Vassal. For me, it's very difficult. It's different. And what I'm trying to do now in my channel is playthroughs live. And I started with I started with simpler games. We Must Tell the Emperor, the Drive on Metz, which is a very simple hex encounter game, and the most recent was I did the Manila, the Savage Streets, and the most recent was Black Skin, Black Shirt, which is the latest Ben Madison game. The cool thing about doing it live has some advantages if you can get it right. Is that you have a full crowd of people, and you can tell Paul is in here. He's whenever I was going to screw up something, he would say, "Hey Joe, no, you forgot to do this." And okay, and thanks, Paul. And I would have a whole set of eyes correcting me, and I think very few mistakes went through. It was great, and it's a very interactive experience. I enjoy it because I have people watching. And the next step that I'm doing now is I hope to do it with a guest. We can play a game together, even if it's like 1 hour. I think if people see like 1 hour of playthrough of a game, they can surmise, yeah, I like this game or I don't like the game, because the whole point is to show what the game does. If you like it, great. If not, you save yourself $80.
Right, right. I like, I do play a lot of Vassal because I play a lot of ASL still, and that whole community, they love Vassal, and it's easy to play on Vassal, and you can always go online and play. Also, Combat Commanders the same way. You can always find a game, and I still love playing face to face, and that's the closest thing you can get. You go log onto Discord and you're moving pieces around and you're talking to each other. But I try to stay away from it doing playthroughs just because, again, I kind of like pushing the counters around. Um, so yeah, and some people live in the middle of nowhere, so it's hard to find. I live in Arkansas. It's not like we have a lot of people to play here either. Um,
I mean, it's a very solitary. Our hobby is a very solitary hobby. Even if you find people to play, most of the time you play alone. And Vassal is a great tool to get people playing together. So
right, right. Okay, so yeah, I think we're on the same page when it comes to playthrough videos. So the next one I mentioned is live streams, and you talked about that, and this seems to be kind of a newer thing that you see a lot of people doing. So what intrigues you about doing live streams?
I wanted to do live streams for one good reason, because I don't have to edit videos. Editing videos can be tedious. It's a very solitary affair. You're by yourself. The whole thing that's holding a video is editing it. And if I can, the thing that I've been working on for like the last year, haven't done as many videos because I'm working on my studio, is bringing the production value of edited videos to live streams. What are those production values? Well, the first is multiple camera angles. And you can do it with OBS. OBS has a thing called the freeze filter, in which I'm talking and we're looking at, for example, Spain. I hit the 3-second freeze button, it freezes the image. And it's great because in wargaming, nothing moves, right? This is not a sport. Nothing moves. In those 3 seconds, while I'm still talking about Spain, I move the camera over to Russia, and then it fades in automatically after 3 seconds into Russia. So with the same camera, I can go across the board, and that's what I use for my live playthroughs, and it works very well. But that's with OBS and that camera, and you can get close, and at the same time you can see anywhere on the map, and you don't get your public seasick by moving the camera around. So that's what I'm trying to integrate. That's one of the values. The other one is, for example, die rolling. What do you do in a live stream if you have to roll a die? Well, you have to maybe you have the die roll camera, which you have a top to bottom shot of your dice tower. I use virtual dice. These are dice that there's a website that it's an overlay I program a button on. I use a Stream Deck. The Stream Deck is wonderful. I always say the inventions of the wheel, fire, Velcro, and the Stream Deck are like the most important ones, because the Stream Deck, Jerry, anything you want to do, you can do it on a push of a button, even live streaming. So I need a die roll. I have a button for 2d6. I roll it, and then you see two digital dice rolling, and you have the result. Then you push the fade away, and they leave. If you need a chart and a table, let's see what we have to roll on a combat table. I use the PowerPoint slides for that. I hit a button, and then you have the table right in front of you. You can see every row, everything. You don't have to move the camera in some difficult angle. So that's what I'm trying to do this year. That's why I haven't done as many videos, because I'm trying to bring those production values to live streaming and make it interesting. And if I can get a guest aboard who's knowledgeable about the game, even more so, because people think that because we have YouTube channels dedicated to war games that we're experts at all the games we play, and that's not the case.
You know, it's funny that you bring that up, because I've been looking at Stream Deck stuff, and you know, I'm one of these. I also have another YouTube channel that focuses on motorcycles and off-road stuff, and a lot of people they don't care. They just want the content, right? You know, where I have noticed that war game people, maybe it's because they're a little more cerebral or whatever, you know, the details are big for them, right? You know, and when you mention the charts, you know, I'm always doing one of these. Well, over right there, you know, that's where it's at, and that's, you know, that's where I need to think about using something like that. And I've just got to get over. I mean, I'm a pretty IT person, so I think I should be able to figure it out. But you know, you just never know. But I really like the idea of where you can fade out from one side of the board to the other. I like that part. So first class playthrough, 0 mistakes. Wow. Well, Thomas, I'm going to play your game, and I guarantee you I'm going to make mistakes. So I don't think I play. I don't think I play any game where there's not any mistakes. I don't know what it is, but I don't think I have. Video editing on my channel. Yeah, it's and one thing that Joe said too, that video editing it's not my favorite thing to do, and sometimes I'll do other things. I'll just put it off to the point where I'm just like, and then you forget what you were doing and that sort of thing. So Jonathan says, where's it at? And that's what you were saying, right, Joe, is that it's nice to be able to have, you know,
the big advantage is the, you know, you have the participation of the audience. You have them there. The engagement is, and I like to present the game like, put the game in front of the viewer, like if you were playing it, and people get into it. It's the real game. You know, it's you're playing the real game. Sometimes people say, "Ah, you played that game. I don't like it. It's too much." Great, but that's what the game does. I mean,
right. Well, and I think that one thing too is, you know, as long as it's moving, you know, I have to say I've seen some live streams where, you know, if there's 45 seconds pause, that's hard to watch, right? You know, but as long as it's moving, even if I have to look up a rule, I'll talk to myself, you know, while I'm doing it, you know, okay, well, I'm looking up rules, you know, whatever that looks like. But I think the live stream is actually going to be the future of our content creation for YouTubers, because I think that most people like seeing it like that. And I think that there's an interaction part of it that the people like to have. And that's why I love watching your stuff. I mean, I've gone to your channel. The Manila one was the last one that I really watched a lot of, because I love that game. And it's funny to see how different strategies are used, and different, you know, how you approach things and I approach things. And so that was really cool. So yeah, I think live streams are probably the wave of the future, as they say.
I enjoy it. They're very enjoyable. It beats edited videos, making them all the time.
Right. So now, speaking of edited videos, instructional videos. So I think there's a difference between a playthrough of a game than an instructional video. And I don't know if you've seen Harsh Rules. Everybody's seen Harsh Rules, I think.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of set the bar when it comes to instructional. I mean, his skills, you feel like, I mean, even, Empire of the Sun, I was actually able to get it on the table after watching his videos. And have you done any of those in-depth instructional videos like that?
I haven't done in a while. I did, for example, old school tactical. I did like an instructional video. I did on some games. I used to do them. They take a lot of time.
Right.
And they're, I mean, the thing is, videos are not good references compared to the actual rules. When you're playing a game, you have a question, you have to reference something, you pull the rule book. It's not time to watch a video. I mean, a video, the good thing about a video, and that's why I think better than instructional videos, that's why I don't do them anymore, is the extended example of play video. Because there you have all the rules integrated in one. And if you do an extended example of play videos, you can put in the text in the bottom the phase you're in and the specific rule it pertains, so people can look at cross-reference the rule book, and it's very helpful. And then after you watch an extended example of play video, then go read the rule book, and you will be able to relate what you saw in the video with what you are reading in text, because the video has one huge advantage over the written word I've discovered through the years, and it's anything that is procedural. If you see a video first, it's easier to understand the procedure than just reading it dry from a rule book. So that's why the extended example plays are good, because they're very procedural. So see the video first, especially if it's a procedural thing, and then go read the rules, and everything, you have something to relate to.
And that's kind of what I do. Is I like, I'll watch the video, then I'll go get the game out, play it a little bit, then I'll go back and watch the video just to see if I've forgotten anything. I know Wayne, the way he does his videos are more playing the game and everything, but you can tell he's spent a lot of time reading the rules, because he doesn't make a lot of mistakes either in his rules. Now, I think that also helps when you pick games that aren't very difficult, right? So, Malta Besieged, I love playing that game. It's simple, but it's a lot of fun, and it just, instructional videos, I don't think I'm going to ever dive into that pool. I don't know if you saw that, Paul, but I think the masses are waiting for your videos. I just, it's one of those things that I've just never been into it. That the tabletop's edge. I don't know if I've ever seen that channel before.
See, but that is very commendable. That dedicated 40 videos to
right.
the Italian combat system. But then what happens is that the tabletop edge, for I don't know how many months, became the BCS channel.
Right.
And my philosophy in the hobby is I like to try everything. And I'm not putting off anybody who dedicates themselves to a specific kind of game. That's great, but I like to try all kinds of games. And there's Wardy Rub. Yeah, he likes the short instructional videos because they're very dry. If you're showing the rules in a video, it's pretty dry. I think that's why I like the extended example of play, because you're playing the game and you see what the game does, and I think it's easier to relate. I think that,
right.
And I think that's why you see also in the companies they're putting more and more extended example of plays in their rule books.
And I really like that about rule books too. Is I think there should be less of the other stuff and more of the extended play. I think you should put a huge extended play and then kind of reference the rules in between the extended play. I think that would, because I don't know about you, the way I learn is I'll set the game up and I'll just start going through the sequence of play, and then I'll just start referencing rules, and seeing how that goes. And but it like I said, they're tough for me. There is a channel called Dad and Sons or something like that, but they're playing combat. And I bet there's 60 videos of a scenario they're playing, because they play for 25, 30, 40 minutes, and then they come back and it's turned into the combat channel, but but the mood is good. Yeah, I do that all the time. Right. So, and I also use the YouTube thing, and I've even done this with your videos, Stuka. Is if I'm doing something at work, I do web design and stuff at home, and I'll just put your stuff on because I'm not really concentrating on it, but I hope and I'm learning through, through hypnosis, I guess, and but
No, the good thing is you see the flow of the game. Sometimes people will see it and say, "Man, that is cool," and sometimes they say, "I don't like that game at all." I mean, I think the game should sell itself. The thing about reviews in the traditional sense, where somebody plays the game, or let's say somebody says that they played the game and then says, "Oh, I like the game," or not, that doesn't help anybody, because my tastes in games are that's like music. We all have different tastes. But if you see a game played, even 2 or 3 turns, you can say, "Well, that's something that I would like to get into," or "No, I'm staying away from that."
right. And yeah, reviews. We're gonna talk about that a little later too, because I do think that it's too vague, right? What I like and what you like, we're going to be two different. I mean, there are some games on your channels I have no idea what you're talking about, right? It's just because I'm not familiar with the topics, or that sort of thing. And I'm sure the same thing for other games, right? And it's just I've been watching a lot of Wardrobe and those guys doing their live shows, because they talk about a lot of different games that I don't play at this moment. I'm not a big Civil War guy. I want to be, but it's kind of cool getting that idea. Napoleonic, same way. I know enough to be stupid dangerous, but I don't know enough to be real educated about it, So, there you go, Joe.
Take requests. Yeah, well, yeah. The thing is, I've had a bunch of requests, but this is the thing. When you're 64, I do videos on games that I like. I don't have time to do videos on games that I'm not interested in, and I've been actually saying no to a bunch of companies that want to send me a game. I tell them, "Listen, I'm full. My schedule's full," because it really is. I have tons of games that I have never played, that I purchased, that I still find fascinating. I want to purchase, and I want to do a video on. So it's the requesting, really. My channel is not a democracy at all.
Right. But it's kind of funny, because I'm kind of the same way. As when I got back into it, I had at one time 350 titles, right? And that's not a lot compared to some people, but I realized that I wasn't playing a third of them. And so when I decided to get back into it, I said, you know what? I get 2 bookshelves, and if those bookshelves are filled, I have to either purge something or I don't buy any more games. And since I have started the channel and it's become a little successful, people are doing the same thing. They'll say, "Hey, let me send you this," and I'm the same way. I'm not trying to make a living off the YouTube channel, and I want to play games that I want to play. And some of the games I've gotten are great, and then some of them are, I know I wouldn't play, so I don't want to waste somebody's time and that sort of thing. So, like Paul says, there's so many games and so little time.
That's right.
So here's a segment that I find very near and dear, because I really like them. I'm a podcast guy anyhow. I like listening to all types of podcasts, but I think the wargaming podcasts are a lot of fun, and obviously you must think so too, because you guest star on some of them. Have you thought about doing a podcast at all?
Thing is, yeah, I thought about it, but I don't think I would be good at it. For example, you got a guy like Aardwolf that he can talk. I can listen to Aardwolf like 3 hours. The guy's a walking encyclopedia. He keeps it interesting, keeps it flowing. I don't have that ability. First, English is not even my main language. I think I could do a podcast better in Spanish than English, but then this is an English-speaking channel that I have. I started actually a Spanish-speaking channel, which I use like a experimental thing. It has 200 subscribers. So, so the thing is, yeah, I like to listen to podcasts, but the definition of podcast, it's pretty flexible. For me, a podcast is anything you can still get the essence of it if you're like jogging and not watching anything, right? I think the audio is more important than the video, something like that.
Yeah, I'm the same way when it comes to. So Ard Wolf, I listen to all the time, right? He's just one of those guys that I listen to all the time. I do like watching guys like the Hex to Hex and Wardrobe and those guys, just because I like their banter. I think they've got a good thing going on. The War Room and now Command Post. I think if you find somebody that you can gel with and kind of have a rapport with, I think that's fun. I'll be honest with you. So far, like between you and I right now, this has been a lot of fun because I don't have to carry the show, right? We can have a conversation. We can kind of do our thing instead of trying to figure out how to fill the time. And so I would love to have a podcast where I had another guest and it was regularly scheduled. But I travel so much in the summertime because I have so many hobbies that I want to go ride motorcycles and camp and all that. So I don't think it'd be good for the audience to have to deal with that. But I just wanted to see what your thoughts and opinions are on that. So
look at it this way. I'm thinking, because I'm going to do live streaming more now. I think I told you before the show, my computer had crashed. I had to load everything again. I had like 4 shows I had to cancel that I had people already. And the good thing, there's when you announce something like, okay, this Saturday, the War Room or the other program, but people are expecting something, right?
Right.
I like to do the unannounced live streams. You know why? Because nobody's expecting anything. So you go, hey, that wasn't so bad. It's a Friday. You never see, I don't think even Hexy and Wardrobe, Friday is like off limits for some reason. Nobody makes a wargaming video on Friday. So I would do like an unexpected video on Friday and people will go, hey, that wasn't so bad. But if you announce it, oh, next week, Stuka Joe is going to have, then people watch and say, this isn't that great. So it's, I think there's a value sometimes in doing something that nobody expects. If you can't keep a fixed schedule, I can't keep a fixed schedule myself. Even I'm retired, but I always have other things to do. And I like to do them like off schedule. And for example, do them after Ardwell finishes. So you have 200 people are going to go to bed. Hey, bring them over here, or do them before, or do them, you can poach some of those people. So for me, it's fun. But to be like every Saturday, like I have to produce something, it's pretty tough.
Yeah, I couldn't do it, and I don't know if I want to do it. I mean, I'm kind of like you, is I've started just going live whenever I want to go live, and because I do notice that a lot of people will just come back and watch it later anyhow, right?
Yeah.
It's not so Jonathan, I will say I love blogging. I've been doing it for a long time. It's a dying breed. It's just it's a shame because now, with YouTube and everything, I've been writing a motorcycle blog since 2005, and I can steadily see when YouTube started hitting and how the decline in reading it. And so now I have to put the videos on the blog, and now it's double the work. So it's like, I'll just stick with the YouTube thing, so. So now we'll go on to, here's
review videos.
Yeah. Here is the thing that kind of gets me with review videos. If I want to know about the game, I'll watch them. If it's something that I'm not interested in, I don't watch them. And then again, I kind of take whatever they're saying with a grain of salt because I don't know whether I'm going to like them or not. So what do you think, Joe? Do you like watching them?
I think I watch, I'm going to be very frank, I watch more unboxing videos than review videos. If it's a review video, I'd probably, because this is what happens. The publisher sends a free copy to the reviewer. The reviewer shows you the components, basically, and then gives you an opinion about the game. You never saw any gameplay or anything. So the guy got a free game, and he doesn't want to hurt the publisher. So the opinion is like, it carries very little weight. Unboxings, you're seeing the physical components, which the company can't hide, right? I mean,
right.
And you can make a lot of assumptions in an unboxing. You can deduct a lot of things about the game that you may like or not like, even in an unboxing. I think unboxings are useful, especially well done. There's people that do more thorough unboxings than others, but I watch all the unboxings, hardly watch any reviews of the game because it's just an opinion.
Yeah, it's kind of funny with the yeah, and we're going to talk about unboxings next, but I kind of jumped on that bandwagon just because everybody does it, right? But I do mine. I don't. None of my unboxings are more than 5 minutes long, and I call the segment just another unboxing video. And basically, I just zoom through it. Hey, here's the components. Here's what it like. Oh, it looks cool. I'll talk to you all about it. Those are some of the most watched videos I have because I think they're quick. You know, people can just go through them. And like you said, I think a lot of people will watch that video and they assume a bunch of things. But review videos, the one thing I find about them is, again, if somebody sends you a game, I hope you're telling people they sent you the game up front, right? Um, Again, just to refer to my other channel, I'm sponsored by some people. First thing I say is, hey, I'm going to be 100% transparent. They sent this to me. I use it, you know, but here's what I think about it. You know, I think the thing is, some of the review videos, I take it for a grain of salt because I know they got the game and they're doing a great job. There are some great review videos out there, but you know, the people who Compass, you know, hangs out with, who GMT hangs out with, who, you know, and so, you know, it's just a thing, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's fine if you want to do it, but I just don't take much credence in them myself, you know. So I don't.
I put in my videos at the end, if it was provided by such and such company, and if it's not, game copy provided by hard-earned cash. That's one that I bought myself. I think it's more. It's if you're going to do a review, it's more salient if you put this game was not a review, no review copies, like no animals were hurt in the film, no review copies were
right
in the production of this video, and people will go, oh, he bought the game. Because if you buy a game, it's because you have an interest on it. And then if the game sucks, you're not going to do a video on a game that you bought and sucked. So you're going to do a video on a game that you bought and like. So it carries an underlying message there that you bought the game and you did a video on it.
Right. And, you know, my thing is, if somebody sends me a game, which they have, and I don't like the game, I'm not going to do a video on it, for one thing. I'm going to talk to them, you know, contact them and say, hey, I didn't like it, you know, or whatever. I would never just trash somebody because it's somebody's work, right? It's somebody's, you know, lifelong thing. But the thing I love about, that's why I think the replays and the playthroughs are better, because then you can play a game and it allows the audience to come up whether they're going to like it or not, right? You know, and so you know, I think it just depends on what you're looking for out of them. You know, sometimes I like to see the components because, you know, and I think one of the things with components, and a lot of us have been playing these games a long time. You go back 20 years ago, stuff in the box was bad, you know, and counters were offset and that sort of thing. Nowadays, we don't really have that too much, I don't think. But it's just
but I appreciate the unboxer, to call it something. You know, when he opens the rule book and he goes page by page, and then I see, oh, supply, 4 pages of supply rules. Am I really interested in supply so much? Or and I start seeing things that I like, or things that I'm not going to buy that game because and it's just by watching a video on the components. Because if a game, for example, I don't like games that have tons of charts that I have to disconnect myself from the map. This is just me personally, and go into a book to find something that happened. And if I find that in a game, I say, that one's not for me. And sometimes I find things that I like, and I say, that unboxing, yeah, I'll go for the game.
Yeah, I think I use unboxings more for, just like I said, looking at components and just seeing what, you know, I like there and everything. Because I'm also like you. I don't like to have I don't like a lot of charts. One thing that really bugs me, and I call it the Avalon Hill SPI syndrome, is I really dislike rule books that are just packed full of text. And it's like 2 pixels from each other, and it's just like one whole sheet looks like. That drives me crazy. And if I see a rule book that's kind of like that, I'm like, you know what, I'm out.
Yeah.
Because I remember back in the day, it was awful trying to read. I'd rather have more pictures. Maybe I'm just slow or whatever, but I'd like to have more pictures. So it's just yeah, and Wayne does a good job with that. I think that sometimes though, again, anytime you're reviewing something, your own bias is going to come into it. Maybe you had a bad experience playing it. Maybe the sun wasn't shining the day you played it. You weren't happy. I mean, I still think there's some things that go on there, but that's it for reviews. Like I said, I appreciate the talent that it takes to do it and doing them, but they're not something I'm huge into. So, and now we're at the unboxing thing. So again, I think we've kind of knocked this. So Robert has, in fact, I'll have to start using this going forward. If I can get my mouse to come over here. Oh, wrong way. Sorry, guys. He says the Don Greenwood font, so
Yeah.
that was really bad. But again, I think we beat the unboxing video thing to death. It's just one of those things that I think some of the guys that do the in-depth ones, I really I like. I don't do the in-depth ones. I do the quick ones. And I think it's just because people seem to like to watch them for some reason. And
I think they're very helpful for what they are. They're very helpful. Otherwise you would have to go and go into a store or somebody show the game to you.
Yeah, Jonathan, I'm the same way, and that's why I guess even if you play it 3 or 4 times, it's still your opinion, right? It's maybe you don't like them. Some people don't like area games. I love area games. Turning Point, Stalingrad, Storm Over. I love playing those kind of games. Breakout Normandy. I could play those games all the time. Other guys I just want hexes. That's all I want.
But the thing with war games, and Jonathan has a great point. The thing is, their nuances normally don't come out. You don't experience the nuance of a game in that first playthrough. So if you play it once and you're going to do a review, you got to play repeatedly to get the nuances of the game to understand. Oh, now I know how each of the systems in the game clicks and everything. That's why it's unfair, really, to put out an opinion there. Just play one playthrough on many games, because they're very nuanced and crunchy and they deserve repeated play. But the thing is, I can't repeatedly play everything here, because otherwise my channel turns into the X game channel.
Right. And my thing, Christoph nails it. Look, I only buy games that I want to play, right? I mean, for me to go out and buy a Spanish Civil War game, I wouldn't play it. It just doesn't interest me. I'll be honest with you, I've never gotten into Revolutionary War stuff. It doesn't. I love the content and I love the history of it, but the game doesn't do anything for me. I would much rather play and for some reason I'm a World War I guy. I like playing World War I games, and I know people go, well, it turns into the same thing every time.
And that's perfectly legitimate. That's
right.
See, our hobby is a niche that is divided into even more niches, because then you have the strategic guys, the operational guys, and the tactical guys. And then within each operational, there's the people who play, BCS, and other people play the Mark Simonich games. And so it's niche, and you can't.
Right. And that's the thing too, is I like crunchy games, but I like games that I don't want to have it on the table for a month, and can't get through it. I love ASL. I played ASL for years, and eventually I just got to the point where I had so much money invested into it and so much time. I felt like all I was doing was playing ASL. So I actually got rid of everything, and I bought starter kit, and I play in the 4 modules of starter kit, and that's all I play. So you mentioned old school tactical. I've had a few people mention that that's a great system. I probably need to look into that system a little bit.
Yeah, that's by Flying Pig Games.
Yeah, and Last 100 Yards, I hear good things about that too. I hear that's good too. So we're going to kind of wrap up the last thing by we're one of the things that I like doing, and I know a lot of people don't like them, is the top list, like the top 10, that sort of thing. I just did an Avalon, my favorite top 10 Avalon Hill games. I posted it on Wednesday, and it's got like 25,000 views. Who would have thought,
Oh,
but I mean, and I tell everybody at the beginning, I said, look, this is my thing, I mean, it's what my memories are of Avalon Hill game. And I had everyone that I had on my list. Channel updates. I do like getting some of the channel updates, especially with people who don't post a lot, because at least you kind of know that they're still out there, that sort of thing. Monthly updates, I don't know if I'm that into that, but every once in a while, if somebody comes in and says, hey, like if you came in and said, hey, I had to get a new computer, this is what's happening, I lost some things, then that keeps everybody informed, right? Then there's some communication. And I do like the after action report videos, just because I do a lot of them for Combat Commander and that sort of thing. So out of that list, which ones do you like?
Let me see. I've done some channel updates once in a while. I don't do top lists. I was thinking maybe I should do what I purchased this month list, because I can tell you why I purchased the game. Maybe, I don't know if that would be interesting for people, but because top lists are top games that you came across in a period of time. And there's so many games out there, and I don't want to make it look like a beauty pageant. It's it's the games that I came across. So like I would probably make a video of what purchases this month or in the last 2 months I made and why. Maybe that's interesting. I don't know, but I've never done those.
It's kind of funny because, the Avalon Hill thing, people are, in the comments, it's getting a lot of comments, and everybody's like, well, you forgot this, or you forgot that, or you forgot. No, I didn't forget them. This is my top 10 list, and it didn't make my top 10 list, it's just, but yeah, I do like the channel updates. It's kind of funny that people say, because if I did a channel or a show that of the stuff I bought this month, I don't think I bought a game in 2 months. I don't buy enough to. But again, I love watching guys. When I look at your room and you see all those games behind you, it's like going into a game store at your house.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, but I haven't bought that many either. I mean, I showed you the Kaiser's High Seas Fleet, which is the one that I have set up on the table right now. Because that one
that's a World War I game, right?
World War I, Gilbert Collins, based on the war at sea, but with modifications. Very interesting, and and made by Compass. Very nice production. 1-inch counters. It looks cool, and that's a game. Now I'm purchasing games that would televise well. See, I do giveaways. Actually, that EV Mux thing has a giveaway, and I do giveaways of games that I purchased, but then they're still in the shrink, and I said, I'm never going to play this. This is just too big. This is just 60 pages.
Right.
So those are for giveaways, but my purchases now are more geared like playing the game and showing it on YouTube. YouTube is, like our television these days. So that's what I'm focused on purchasing recently.
So here's a good question. Should games be simulations that allow you to just follow the actual events, or should they be flexible so you can win as a disadvantaged side?
But that for flavors, that depends. There's people who play games for very different reasons. Some people want to relive the history, so they would play a game that has a lot of rules that limit your freedom of action just to get the historical results. Other games permit more maneuvers or outcomes that didn't happen historically. I mean, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I tend to be, if a game is immersive, that's what I'm going to play. If it creates this story in my head, and I'm playing the story and I can transport myself, fine. If later I discover, well, it wasn't too very historical, well, tough luck.
Yeah. I'm kind of the same way. I don't mind playing a game. Look, France 1940. If you're playing France, you're going to get your brains beat out, right? I mean, that's just what it is. I still like playing the game, But I also do like, that's why I really liked games like Enemy Action Kharkov. There's enough flexibility, and the chit draw thing is really cool, right? Is it allows you to, when Christoph and I were playing, you kind of know what's going to happen, but can you delay it a little bit, or can you help out a little bit? I'm kind of the same way. I think it says we have Napoleonic situation, which will always end the same way unless you add more forces. Yeah, and like I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, right? It's the France thing, right? You're gonna get your brains beat out. Can you delay it a little bit? I guess that's the way I would look at it, And
The sounds of that sound of drums, right?
yes, yeah, sound of drums, yeah.
Is that Uva in the chat? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure, and it just says sound of or SOD.
Sound of drums. That's the. I don't know. It says sound of drum battles of Napoleon. Maybe it's Uva. I don't know.
And yeah, the AARs, I agree too, because then you've played the game and you kind of go through that. Let's see what else we got here as we're winding down. What was his top favorite games list? Yeah, and so once every 8 to 10 years, it's kind of funny because this can evolve quickly, right? Is what your favorite games are. I can tell I really like a certain game if it's on my top 15 or I'm still playing it to this day. Upfront is still a game that I'll play tomorrow. I would love to play it. RAF is a game that I will continue to play. I can't say that all the games are like that, but there are a lot that are. So whatever. Yeah. So again, okay. So it looks like it is Sound of Drums, and it says no. It must not be. So yes to the first question, no to the second question.
What was the second question?
I think who it is, who the person is, and
okay.
he says he's one of the vassal developers. I'm a little slow on the comments here.
Okay. Because I met Uva at the BellotaCon. I go every year to Spain to Badajoz to that convention.
So I love that about what I think you did it last year when you walked through and you just had your phone and you kind of went through. It's kind of funny. I had to use Google Translate because you'll break into Spanish and start talking Spanish, and so I'm like, I had Google Translate up on the thing and it was listening and translating. So
last year I did something I did for the first time. I sat. They wanted, hey Stuka, play a game. You're always filming. You never play a game. So okay, let's play a game. So we played Successors, the Phalanx edition. This is a Mark Simonich game that's been published by various publishers. So I had 2 cameras and I have my iPad, and you can switch cameras. So it was there like for 2 hours, and I would switch the cameras, and you can hear these guys, banter, poking fun at each other in Spanish. It's up there, but it's in Spanish. I know it's in Spanish in an English-speaking channel, but that's the convention. Everybody speaks Spanish, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. That is cool. So, well, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Let's finish up there. So next week, I'm going to have another guest. So Thomas Van Heer is going to join us, and of course, he's of Historic Wings. He probably went to bed because it was like 2:00 in the morning over there. But we're going to actually give away a game on that show, and we're going to kind of talk about his new game coming up. That's Yasta 18. And we'll kind of talk about that. So that'll be next week, same time, same bat channel, all that sort of thing. And then, folks, I want to end this by thank you, Joe, for coming and hanging out with us for an hour. I really do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Jerry. It was a pleasure.
You're the standard. You're up here, and the rest of us are kind of down here. So I want to make I really enjoy having you here, and I've learned a lot from you, and I hope to learn a lot more from you. So that's one of those things. So I know, like I said, taking your time is valuable. So I really do appreciate it. If you want to hang out a little bit, I'll just, we can chat when we get done here. So, everybody else, I really do appreciate you guys coming in. We had about 40 people at one time. So really want to thank you guys for that. Really do appreciate that. I'm glad Stuka was here because I know that many people don't want to see me. So I really do appreciate you guys supporting the channel and doing
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yep.
Thank you.
And I think we can all agree, right? So, so folks, do the YouTube thing, thumbs up, all that stuff, that you got to do to keep us going. But really do appreciate you guys. Thanks for hanging out. And until next time, everybody, be safe, be kind. Happy wargaming.